Number 10. 1971 Plymouth Hemi GTX, 30 units produced by 1971. The writing was on the wall. Smog-era muscle cars were around the corner and would be some of the worst. However, Hemi-powered models like the Plymouth GTX were still going strong without losing any power. Still based on the Chrysler B-body, the 71 GTX was as elegant as ever with its streamlined body and loop bumper grille. Despite being marketed as a gentleman's muscle car, the GTX still looked menacing and went like hell, thanks to the well-known 426 cubic inch street Hemi, which at that point was still conservatively rated. The bigger but low-revving 440 V8 was still available as a base option, and most of the 2,942 cars produced came with it since the Hemi was an expensive option at $800. Number 9. 1970 Dodge Challenger RT, top speed 134 mph. 6 years after Ford introduced the Mustang, Dodge finally produced their own car with the 1970 Challenger. They packed it with significantly more ponies, creating one of the fastest muscle cars ever built, all adding up to a kick-ass ride. The performance trim was the RT, which offered 383, 440/40, 446 pack, and 426 Hemi engine options. The Hemi was the one to get for any serious street racer, and in fact, the legendary Black Ghost was equipped with the 426. For those who may find themselves in the world's most obscure automotive trivia contest, the first use of the Challenger name was with the Silver Challenger trim package on the 1959 Coronet. Top speed was rated at 134 mph. Number 8. 1967 Plymouth Belvedere IR023, produced 55 units. The Badger was essentially Plymouth's version of the Dodge Coronet. The drive to dominate NH superstock racing was strong within the Chrysler Corporation, which is why Plymouth introduced its high-performance B-body dedicated to drag racing. Like other track-focused Mopar models, the Badger IR023 was a stripped-down variant of the regular car, eliminating any amenities that would add weight and hinder performance. This included the radio sound deadening and even the hubcaps. As a result, the big muscle car weighed just 3,510 lbs. The Hemi engine featured heavy-duty internals, while a 4.88:1 short gear rear end ensured the engine stayed in the sweet spot. Only 17 of the R023 Badgers came with a 4-speed 833 transmission. Number 7. 1971 Dodge Charger Superbird, top speed 142 mph. Only two 21971 Dodge Charger Superbs were equipped with the 426 Hemi engine, making it one of the rarest classic production Mopars ever. The 1969 Charger Daytona was excluded from this list due to its limited production, but the 426 Superb made the cut because it was an engine option that anyone who bought a 71 could have ordered. However, only 22 visionaries did so. 1971 marked the year when the Superb trim was moved from the Coronet to the third-gen Charger platform. It was still a B-body, making it a more sensible choice than the Mexican A-body Superbs or the rebooted LX platform. The 2007 S Scat Pack cars feature the Bumblebee logo and were spread across all Dodge body platforms, but a Superb is meant to be a superb body car like the 71. Number 6. 1970 Plymouth Hemi Superbird. 135 units heralding the era of Chrysler's aerodynamic body cars, the Plymouth Superbird was a NASCAR homologation special designed to outpace the Ford Torino Talladega on the oval. The Superbird shared the B-body platform with its more civically styled sibling, the Roadrunner, as well as other mid-size Chrysler models. Almost all Superbirds were equipped with a 440 Super Commando V8, while only 135 customers chose the 426 Hemi engine, which enabled the race version of the winged Plymouth to achieve speeds of 200 mph, making it one of the fastest muscle cars of the 1970s. This performance also raised safety concerns in motorsports. Thanks to its cone nose, the Plymouth Superbird boasted a drag coefficient of just 0.28, which contributed to its supercar speeds. Number 5. 1967 Dodge Coronet RT, top speed 150 mph. A Coronet is a crown, and the Dodge Coronet began as Mopar royalty in 1959, serving as the division's top luxury full-size model. Over the generations, the Coronet lost its throne and was relegated to the lowest trim midsize in the 5th generation. However, the former king found it was better suited for battle, and the Coronet became Dodge's mightiest muscle car. 1966 marked the first year Chrysler made the 426 CI Hemi available for regular production vehicles, so conceivably, someone could have purchased a 66 Coronet station wagon with a monster under the hood. In 1967, Chrysler decided that the Hemi should only be offered on their badged muscle cars, making the Coronet RT the king of Dodge performance for that year. Unfortunately, it was a short-lived reign, as the following year, the second-gen Charger usurped its throne. Number 4. 1968 Plymouth Barracuda B029 Superstock B029. 50 units back in 1968, the Plymouth Barracuda B029 Superstock was what the Dodge SRT Demon 170 is today. This classic Mopar, based on the second-generation Barracuda, utilized the smaller body platform compared to the larger B-body Mopar muscle cars. Chrysler built the B023 Superstock with assistance from Hearst Performance. Compared to the regular Barracuda, the Superstock received a redesigned chassis, a lighter body, heavy-duty rear suspension, and modifications to the Hemi V8. Other modifications included fiberglass fenders and acid-etched steel doors. All these changes allowed the Barracuda B023 Superstock to blast down the quarter-mile in as little as 10 seconds. Most specialized outlets mention that 50 units were produced, but some sources suggest that as many as 70 cars may have been built. Number 3. In 1969, Dodge shipped 80 Darts to Hearst Performance for speed upgrades, resulting in the Hemi Dart intended solely for track use and lacking a warranty. These 426-equipped beasts were stripped-down drag cars. In 1969, Dodge decided to build a factory drag car themselves with the Dart GTS 440. Unlike the Coronets and Chargers, which were large and mid-size rides, the Dart was compact. So shoehorning the massive 440 cubic inch V8 into it came with some sacrifices. The 69 Dart 440 was designed for speed in a straight line, so perhaps turning and stopping weren't priorities. Number 2. 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. Hemi Cuda Convertible 21 units. There are a few cars defined by their engine, but none more so than the 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda. The fact that Hemi-powered cars were dubbed Hemi Cuda instead of Barracuda speaks for itself. The 2-year model was popular, but that mostly applies to the hardtop, which outsold the convertible by a hefty margin. In 1970, just 5.1% of all Cudas were convertibles. That number dropped to less than 2% in 1971. Fewer still came with a Hemi V8. Out of the 2,793 Cuda convertibles, just 21 were Hemi-powered. Of those, 14 were produced in 1970 and 7 in 1971, making them some of the rarest and most collectible Mopars. 5 of the Hemi convertibles are said to have been exported to other countries. One of the 71 Hemi Cuda convertibles was auctioned in 2021, where it reached $4.8 million, which still wasn't enough for the owner to let go. Number 1. Dodge Charger RT Top Speed 156 mph. There is no car more synonymous with the classic muscle car era than the second-generation Dodge Charger. After a rocky introduction in 1966 with its somewhat goofy-looking fastback, the redesigned 1968 model wasn't just a hit, it became an icon. With aggressive styling and incredibly powerful engine options, it established the archetype of what a muscle car should be. Dodge had initially planned to produce around 35,000 new 68 Chargers, but ended up selling nearly 100,000 because it was the car every speed demon had to have. The RT was the top performance trim for 1968, and when equipped with the optional 426 Hemi, it was the most unbeatable vehicle on the streets. It was also the fastest classic Mopar muscle car and a true legend of the era, making it the best of the best. Now that you've seen our list of the 10 fastest Mopar muscle cars, we want to hear from you which one is your absolute favorite, and did we miss any that you think should be on this list?